No? You sure? Yeah, you just cracked me up. Okay, so you said Swami says.
Swami says, here's what we're going to do, and we don't have it with us today, but we were going to put our crystal ball out on the table and, you know, use our
psychic
ability
to figure out
where this market's heading.
And why are we doing this?
We keep getting that question from a lot of different sources. We have agents that are asking us, hey guys, you know, with all the people that you speak to and you know the different contacts around the country, where do you think this market's heading, or what have you heard? We get that from sellers as well. Where do you think this market's heading? You know, you get somebody that's kind of in trouble and they're looking if they can hang on. They don't know which way to go, and they're saying, well, what do you guys think? Where do you think this market's heading? Because if it's going to turn around soon, we might be able to you know, to stay where we are and pull this out. And that becomes a very difficult question to answer because, as all of you know, real estate's very local. And it really depends on where you live, and even within the town that you live, it can vary from area to area. One of the biggest things that we keep hearing, or you read in the national media, is regards to how much inventory there is. And there's this explosion of inventory, and there's so many months supply. But I'm going to tell you, right here where we live, there isn't. There's nothing for sale. It's incredibly short. We have roughly about a 1.5 month supply of inventory, which is very, very low. And under any normal circumstances, our supply is so low, yet the demand is still strong. Prices should be soaring.
Yeah,
and they're not.
And let me add a couple things here. First of all, to me the funniest thing is when someone says, where do you see this market going? Well, I have two beliefs in that. One is if I was psychic, I'd be a multi-billionaire because I would know every stock to buy and when to sell.
I mean, we wouldn't be here right now.
We wouldn't be here. Well, I think we would though, because you know, we really care. So we probably want to educate people.
No, we wouldn't be here.
We'd be in Hawaii or our own private island, right. So I have two theories in that. One is I believe that our market is absolutely customizable, as it has always been. This has not changed in forever with real estate. Meaning this is that if you have a true game plan for purchasing real estate, whether it's owner-occupied or it's going to be an investment property, you're in control of your own destiny.
Right.
You're going to take risk. It's an investment, so you're going to take a risk. If you buy a home today, it may be worth more money an hour from now or less money an hour from now. So look at the home purchase process just like you would any other investment. The beauty behind this investment, it's the only investment that I know of in the entire world that you get to use on a daily basis. And historically, it always, at some point in time, gives you some kind of equity. Cars don't do it.
No.
Stocks don't do it.
And if you still look at the history of real estate all the way back to World War II, it still has appreciation.
Absolutely.
When you average it out over all of those years, it still averages appreciation. We are obviously in a severe downturn right now.
Right.
But it's really important in understanding where the market's going. It's really important to understand where it's been and what the bones behind the information
what the cycle is all about. And the other side of that is this, is that someone asked me yesterday, you know, what do I think? And here's what I said. This was my quote. I said, we have an election year. We're in an election year. They're ramping up. It's going to be force-fed to us about how great our president and the administration has been for our country. And another guy's going to come in and say, BS, it hasn't been great. We're in a worse situation than we were during the Great Depression. Also look at this. Look at the fact that all the people that were controlling the banks years ago that opened the floodgates for everyone to actually get a loan are now advisors or placed somewhere in office in Washington, D.C.
Exactly.
So as I was discussing with this individual, I said, here's what I see. This is what I'm seeing going on, and I'm sure we're going to get some political backlash on this, which I'm fine with. The money in our country is a play box or a sandbox, right?
Right.
All the kids playing in the sandbox in the 90s and early 2000s were just throwing sand everywhere, right?
Yeah.
All those guys, men and women, are now in office and are trying to rectify the situation by grounding the kids in the play box that were being bad. But they're the ones that were in the play box, in the sandbox.
They're writing the rules to correct their own misdeeds.
Yeah, so it's like saying, hey man, you can go out and have an ice cream. Have as much ice cream as you actually want. Because I'm giving you the freedom to do so. Matter of fact, I'm going to provide all the ice cream for you. And then a year later you come back and you say, I've gained 350 pounds. And I say, well, how are you going to fix that? Matter of fact, here's all the ice cream in the world. You fix it. But you have to ground yourself. You're in trouble, so you pick your own grounding. You're going to be grounded for a week from ice cream, or what are you going to do? And in the meantime, I'm going to keep providing you with ice cream.
Yeah.
If you followed me on that, definitely send me an email, and I'll actually talk in layman's terms about how I feel about what's going on with the money. We can't fix it. As two guys sitting here, we can't fix it. As a state, we can't fix it.
No, I mean, bottom line on this, besides TroySage2012.com, for anyone that's interested.
Oh man, I'm afraid what they're going to dig up.
The skeletons?
Well, you know, they'll just say, oh, you toured in the band, so you must be a junkie or something. I'm going to have to fight that. Yeah, whatever.
The bottom line on all of this, the housing market has still got a long way to go, in our opinion. If you just look at the raw data, it's still got a long way to go. If you look at it, as Troy said, we are moving into an election year. You're starting to see all kinds of emphasis put on housing again and jobs. They're now even throwing out numbers. I just heard one on the radio the other day that housing is key to this turnaround because for every new home that's built, it creates 20 new jobs, something along those lines.
Right.
And you know, for all the people that buy homes, that leads to money for landscapers, Home Depot, Lowe's, all the supplies, everything else. And the way they're doing that is they're almost painting a picture that, look guys, we have bottomed out and it's improving. But the question is, has it? I mean, the foreclosure numbers continue to fall month over month over month, which is great. But what they're not reporting is the delinquency numbers are going up and up and up. There's more and more people in trouble because there's more and more people that are unemployed. And they don't have the income to support their rate adjustments or anything else that's going on with them. So it's really important to understand that. So when they report the numbers, you keep hearing this shadow inventory. What does that mean? Well, the shadow inventory isn't just a pile of homes that's sitting that some bank is getting ready to release.
It's not.
No,
it's not like the dark shadow.
It's not like the dark shadow. They're talking about the numbers here of the people that are behind on their loans, but technically not in the foreclosure process. They have not filed a notice of default. They haven't filed a notice of sale. Technically, according to the loan documents, they can file a notice of default and say you are in default under the terms of your mortgage after 30 days. In most cases, they're not doing that. It's taking more like 180 days or longer for them to even do this. In fact, I think I just saw earlier this week that they are actually saying now that the average foreclosure time nationwide is like 592 days in judicial foreclosure states.
I was just talking to someone this morning about that, and they had that same 500 some odd days. I thought, 500 some odd days? Now, do yourself a favor, please. Don't be one of those homeowners that says, I can live in my home for 500 days, or even 365 days and not have to make a mortgage payment and not worry about it.
Right.
Okay, because that's not really what's happening. What they're saying is on an average. There's some people that have way exceeded the 590 days, and then like you just said, Andrew, that there's people out there that have been 31 days late and they're now getting notice of default.
They're getting notice of default and they're looking at foreclosure within 4 months. I mean, they're following the timelines, that we have here in California to the T. So, we've covered so many different items this morning and thrown all kinds of different things out there, but really, the bottom line is real estate is very local.
Well, where do you think it's going to be a couple years from now? Just real quick.
I don't think we're going to see much change.
I don't either, man. What I see happening is that short sales are here to stay.
Short
sales are not going away. If you go back to the 90s, this went on, but when I was in real estate, 90, 91, it was different. We didn't have short sales. We had pre-foreclosure. If you didn't make an arrangement with that bank, they just foreclosed. That was it.
Yeah.
Here, because of what's going on in our country, with all the financing, they're trying to, in my humble opinion, the banks are trying to not look so bad. Because everyone's going, you're the bad guy, you're the bad guy, you're the bad guy, you loaned us this money, right? And then they sold off all their portfolio stuff to other countries. Everyone's PO'd at the United States right now when it comes to money, okay? So
not just money.
Yeah. So when you go back to that sandbox gig, they're trying to discipline themselves without looking like they committed murder. They're trying to say, hey, I just knocked the guy over and he died. And realistically, when you compound everything that's happened, this has destroyed our financial status throughout the world.
A huge mess was created in the kitchen.
Yes.
And it's going to take more than one person to give it a quick wipe down or put some other dishes over the top of the dirty ones to hide them.
Yeah,
it's not going away anytime soon.
There's guidelines and regulations in place where the government's helping the banks, and at the same time that then helps the homeowners and so on and so forth. My prediction is we're not going to see any kind of peak in our market till minimum 2015. We're not going to see anything start to turn around where we can see like an average 3% equity or
True
even
appreciation.
True appreciation.
Not one that goes up for a month and then drops back down.
Yeah.
But actually coming out of it. But again, it's local. We'd love your feedback on what's going on in your market. We'd also like to know what your predictions are.
This is
again,
a quick 3-minute video.
These are just predictions. I mean, we're just saying it based upon what we've seen. Who knows if it's going to be right or wrong? We'll know when we get there. But we'd love your feedback on that. www.s2meg.com.